whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It's channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. What's going on, family? Welcome to another exciting edition, a welcoming edition, a random edition, because it is Random Topic Thursdays. How to live stream here in the cosmos of StreamYard, with StreamYard as well as on X. Everybody, all of my family on X who are watching Facebook. We also have Rumble, which I try and get more people to subscribe because I'm trying to move the platform away to from YouTube. And I'm going to put the link in the chat for everyone to look at if you want to subscribe to Rumble or want to subscribe to Rumble. In fact, my channel is already, we've been fighting the shadow ban with YouTube, as many of you know, my channel is already monetized on Rumble. So you can actually drop something in there. But I always ask people, if you love me for my time, pay me for my time. My CashApp and PayPal is at the bottom. I'm coming on. Oh, there we go. So that's what's up. I had to come on via, you see me in the suit, so you know I've been in court getting that justice today for a lot of people trying to. It's a hard fought battle of every day. But I'll go ahead and pause this for 1 second. So yeah, I gotta pause the music. I know it's good. I love that beat, the way it drops, but so I can hear myself think to talk with you all. Welcome, family. Welcome. I'm on a little bit early today. I'd rather come on early today because I've been frankly exhausted all week just running back and forth, man. And I mean, waking up early. I had some kids staying with me this past me and the family this past week, some relatives, and taking care of them wore us out. When I say kids are a handle, I don't have kids yet, but I feel sorry for you parents and married people that do, because I know that's not, especially when they're younger, that's not an easy thing to do, to keep up with them back and forth. But people do that. So I put in the chat, everybody, where you can go to subscribe to the Rumble page, hit that copy that link, and then just follow me on Rumble when we go live, so we can do that. Of course, I've put it on YouTube as well as X, and that's only because I know most people now are following me through Twitter. Twitter's actually just been doing a good job. I've noticed my followers have increased in the last few. I mean, my views have increased more and more on X. It seems that more and more people are finding me there on X. Cheryl the Pearl, what's going on? Danielle Maher, I'll have to talk with you a little bit too, Danielle. I haven't heard from you in a while. And Cheryl, it's good to see you. So just to tell you how my week went, Monday morning, I've just been exhausted and not feeling that great. I got a phone call Monday morning to appear on Brother Michael Collier's radio show. Now, if you're not familiar with Michael Collier, something must be wrong with you. But if we've watched Martin, you've watched House Party 3, Showboat, also Mr. Whitaker, Gina's boss.
Gina's boss, of course, was Michael Collier. Yeah, Mr. Whitaker. So he was also in Poetic Justice. Yeah, I think he did Hot Shots Part 2, which came out in the early 90s. But Michael Collier had me as a guest on his show performing comedy. I did 3 minutes and rocked the house, literally. So he called me at about, he lives in California, and I guess he had no knowledge of how late it was. It was midnight, and I was just trying to relax. But I called him back, and he told me, yeah, Mr. Rayshard, you think you could get up in the morning, come do a show for us? Now we start at 7 o'clock, which would be 9 o'clock your time. But he really told me 10. But I fucked up, and because I looked at it, and I had to come on at 9, so I had gotten dressed and everything. And I have the video up. I was actually, I think this was his 798th show, so I'm gonna actually send y'all the link to it. But and he said I was a shot out of the dark, but we ripped the house. And I'm in the first part of the show, so I'm actually gonna leave the link for everybody to see. I had a good time. His co-host as well, who were very welcoming. They talked with me for a few minutes afterwards. Of course, they have to go through the show afterwards, but I really enjoyed it. And I had people rolling in there. Everybody was enjoying the set. So let you know that I'm not just funny in New Orleans, I'm funny all over the world. And when you have Michael Collier praising you, ripping it, then you got something going. So, yeah, we had a great time. We had something going, man. We had a great time. And I'm gonna put that in the chat for everybody. Yeah, I had shared that so people could check it out and look at it. It's on Facebook. So he has a Facebook page. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the link so y'all could check that as well. So it was great. So yeah, Michael Collier actually, he won Star Search, I think, a few years ago, and he get like $50,000, and he ended up giving all of the money to the homeless out there in Venice Beach, California, which is around the Santa Monica Pier. I don't know if anyone's ever been out there, but they got a lot. They definitely got a homeless problem now. Let's just put it that way. They got. I've been there. I went there, and I thought our homeless people were going through something. Nigga, Cali got it locked. California knows how to party. Even the homeless do. Damn, it's zapping like Roger said. California knows how to party in the city of Oakland. Damn. But yeah. What's up, Spirit? So I'm gonna get without further delay, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just talk about what's going on here. You saw from my thumbnail what I was going to get into. A couple of things. I do want to start with this, so I think it's best to do this. Uh, there has been an update on social media in regards to the death of one Sade Robinson. Now, you all are familiar or may not be familiar with it. Sade Robinson was, I believe, a 19-year-old girl, 19-year-old woman who went out on a date apparently with a Neanderthal by the name of Maxwell. I want to make sure I get his name correctly. By a guy by the name of Maxwell. I'm gonna just put up the video and let the video play because I had it all up here, and they have made an apparent arrest. He's been arrested about 6 days ago for her disappearance and murder. He's been charged with first-degree murder as well as arson, and I believe there's another charge as well. So what unfortunately has happened? She had been gone miss. She had gone missing for several days. They had gone on a date, and she never came back home. They found her cell phone and traced it back to his residence, as well as to two different parks, and ending at about 3:30 in the morning. And you're going to see from this video what I'm talking about here. So
the new search for remains in the killing of a 19-year-old Milwaukee.
so here's an update. that they have here on Miss Robinson, they have actually sadly found, and what led them to him is that they actually found her leg that was missing, and they were able to identify it. And unfortunately, as of today, they've actually found, Maxwell Anderson is the guy's name. They actually have an update. They found more uh, body parts, remains, sadly. But first, let's play a video because this one lays it out perfectly, and then we're going to get to the other video for the update, just so those who don't understand.
Court documents say Anderson and
And
Robinson
this
were
is
meeting up for that first date on Monday, April 1st. They started at a Menominee Valley bar, the Twisted Fisherman, before heading over to Duke's on Water, which is in downtown Milwaukee. That phone is then traced to right here, Anderson's home at 39th in Oklahoma, and we know Robinson was never seen again. This new exclusive video appears to capture the moment investigators took Maxwell Anderson into custody near his home at 39th in Oklahoma, following a whirlwind investigation that started April 2nd.
Milwaukee County 911 dispatch received a call from Cudahy Police Department regarding a severed leg at Warnemont Park. Subsequently, a Milwaukee police officer who was aware of our investigation raised the possibility that the leg may be related to a missing person investigation that they were conducting.
That missing person, Sade Robinson. A criminal complaint released Friday says investigators used her cell phone records to follow her movements the night before on April 1st for what was supposed to be a first date with Anderson. After dinner and drinks, Robinson's phone was tracked to Anderson's home for 3 hours. An hour later, her phone pinged at Kern Park. And then following a drive across, investigators found that severed leg. April 2nd, the Milwaukee police found Robinson's car torched near 31st and Lisbon, her clothes and phone in the trunk. 12 News has since learned footage from a city bus near that time and place captured Anderson. In the following days, police and Robinson's family searched that Walnut Hill neighborhood and found a foot and human flesh.
MPD returned to the area when Miss Robinson's family located her blanket. At this time, detectives located additional human remains.
DNA results on the foot are pending, but DNA results confirm the severed leg is Robinson's.
Do you know how she died?
Can't comment on that.
Investigators also not detailing where the homicide occurred, a possible motive, a weapon, or what they found when they searched his home, other than blood in a bedroom and blood on the walls leading to the basement. Law enforcement sources told 12 News investigators did find what was described as a sex dungeon.
What did you find inside that home, specifically in the basement?
Cannot release that at this time.
Hannah, the sheriff confirmed they are reviewing other missing person cases to see if there's any connection to this one.
Right, Patrick. They're looking for any link to this case. But today, the sheriff did say right now they do not have any evidence that leads them to any other victims.
Hannah Hilliard at 39th.
So that's one update regarding this. And Sade Robinson was 19 years old. Maxwell Anderson is 33. Now, I don't know exactly how they met up or what. I'm assuming, I could be wrong. I don't want to make assumptions, but let's just say for the sake of argument, let's put it this way. Until we know more information, I won't comment. But for the sake of argument, let's just say that they met online. I believe this was through online dating. I could be wrong because I don't see if this sister went through his profile, learned everything. I don't see how well or they work. I can't fathom that they work together. I don't think he had a 33-year-old and she's 19. So it sounds like all probability, although that information hadn't been released, that they had met. Obviously, if it was for a first date, according to what the court records are stating, that they met up probably online. I always stress to everybody, especially and I learned this because when I was coming up, we had the internet. We did have the internet when I was growing up, at least by the time I was a teenager. And there used to be, although it's not they didn't have like the online dating thing that was big then, although they had black singles meets and stuff like that. And they didn't have, of course, like an app on your phone because smartphones didn't come up yet. So I don't know. So I don't know exactly what they're saying as to how they met. But one thing I was always told, and she's a teenager now. So even though she's 19, she's technically a teenager. They had a date, it looks like, according to reports, the night before at a Milwaukee seafood restaurant that he used to work at. And so that night, she went missing on April 2nd. She went on a date with him, according to this article from USA Today, with her co-workers, and she did not show up for her shift at the pizza restaurant, which is when they got suspicious. So I'm assuming that and I don't want to assume, when you put assumptions, you make ass in front of you. He's arrested a few days later because he's the last one to have seen her. And he makes an appearance in court, of course. Now, they found the severed human leg at Warmington Park. But I tell people, please be careful with who you meet up with online, especially for our young people. When you have someone you hook up with, I get it, you're excited, especially when you're young. You want to enjoy yourself. You want to hook up with a hot stranger, and all of that sounds good. But the grass is not always green on the other side. Right. These psychopaths. What's up, computer robots? These are psychopaths. This is a guy. I got to be careful, of course, and I don't want to get sued. Yes, all people, including Mr. Anderson, are presumed innocent until proven guilty. I don't know the facts of the case. I'm a lawyer myself, so I always believe in that presumption. But there is a lesson, I'm just speaking in general, that we can learn. And especially when we have situations like this, how you have to stay away from certain people. Why your parents, especially as you get older, told you to tell us where you're going. Because that's something they always told us. Let us know where you're going. Who's going to be there? Who else is going to? That's why parents used to ask that, because if something happened to you, now we didn't have cell phones as a kid, like talking about it. There were cell phones, but they weren't at the level they have today. The old Nokia phones that you used to have. That stuff I remember. But you had to be very careful when you went by yourself or you went somewhere. Your parents always say, we're gonna pick you up right here. Like when I went on a dates as a kid in high school, my parents dropped me off and they said, Gavin, we're gonna be right here to pick you back up. Don't go anywhere else but from where you're going. You're going to the movies, you stay here.
The new search for remains in the killing of a 19-year-old.
That's what my parents told me. And you see that why in that situation. And she's an adult, but I don't think, of course, being 19, she don't know any better.
Milwaukee woman. Prosecutors have charged Maxwell Anderson with homicide, mutilation, and arson in the death of 19-year-old Sade Robinson. She was last seen on a date with Anderson April 1st.
Why do they look like Kurt Russell's son? The new Captain America everybody hates.
On April 2nd, someone found a severed leg in Cudahy's N.Y Park. Prosecutors say DNA evidence shows that it is Robinson's. Remains found in other areas have not yet officially been linked to Robinson. As 12 News' Emily Polfall reports, Robinson's family and friends are looking for more volunteers in the search.
Now we want y'all to look up the bluff and down on the ground. Y'all know what y'all looking for? Yes. Okay. Just want to warn you.
Grit and determination through grief. Another day of searching for Sade Robinson's remains and searching for closure for her family.
I think everybody's just overwhelmed.
Tracking through water and mud, Robinson's cousin sits in Warnemont Park after searching all day. too exhausted to go on camera.
It's just tiring because we're not getting anywhere. But our family needs peace and we need closure. So I don't want to stop.
A group of about 20. They're searching places mentioned in the criminal complaint of Robinson's suspected killer, Maxwell Anderson, accused of scattering her body parts across Milwaukee County. The search party spent most of Saturday looking here in Warnemont Park. People we spoke to say they came out to help search to try to bring peace to Robinson's family.
It was really hard terrain, and you have to be a madman to do it well.
This is Robinson's friend Josh.
I felt compelled to do that. I owed that to her.
The pair met at Pizza Shuttle, where Robinson worked.
She was gorgeous, and her smile could brighten anyone's day, and she just had that personality where she could cheer you up.
The group is still learning how to organize a widespread search party, and they're doing it with little help.
I've never been part of a search or anything like this before.
People want to get on the water because obviously she might be in the water and we don't have the resources.
In Warnemont Park, Emily Pofall, WISN 12 News.
The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office telling 12 News tonight all known locations have been searched multiple times, also saying the search is ongoing as they continue to identify possible new locations through investigation. And the man charged with killing Robinson is on your screen, Maxwell Anderson. He's in jail tonight on a $5 million bond. He is expected back in court later this month. That person found the torso and arm as they walked along Lake Michigan. The beach is just beyond this wooded area here. Neighbors shocked by the discovery in their own backyard. Lake Michigan waves in South Milwaukee turned up a disturbing discovery Thursday morning.
Hectic, scary, kind of shocking.
Someone on their morning walk along the shore found a torso and an arm. Investigators believe the remains belong to 19-year-old Sade Robinson. Topanga Brogdon didn't want to go on camera, but she watched investigators from her backyard.
They came back up carrying the body bag.
Angela Buchanan captured a photo of the crime scene. Police tape blocking the path down to the lake just after sunrise.
It hits really hard because just the brutality of it.
Prosecutors say 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson killed Robinson after their first date on April 1st and mutilated her body.
Unfortunately, I kind of right away had just this bad gut feeling just because I know this is not far at all from Warnemont Park where her leg was found.
On April 2nd, someone found Robinson's leg near the water at Warnemont Park. Police later discovered human remains believed to be Robinson's on Milwaukee's north side, near 30th and Galena, along with her torched car.
It's scary that you go on a first date with somebody and this is what you have to worry about.
Robinson's family and friends came to the beach after learning about today's discovery. They didn't want to go on camera, but tell me they want to be able to have a proper funeral and burial for Robinson.
These discoveries incredibly disturbing. Kendall, the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office is still asking for tips.
They're asking anyone with information to call them or to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers. Tomorrow, the Sheriff's Office says they're sending a sonar detection boat into Lake Michigan to look for more remains and evidence.
Yeah, so that's horrible, man. You got to be careful. So her leg was found at Warnemont Park. Now they additionally found her torso not far from where her leg was. So this guy burned the car, chopped her body up. I'm saying this is allegedly, and scattered it in different places. Lord knows where her head. So he even cut off her head. Yeah. This is horrible. And here's Anderson getting the perk walk. They had to get him to do the perk walk on this one. This was too brutal. On this case, we're going to keep monitoring. The family has set up a GoFundMe page as well, and their amount, and I believe they've already raised about $4. So that's that demon. And again, yeah, look, I got to be careful because I don't know all the facts of the case, and I get it.
Update on the investigation, Christina.
Mary,
This
we
one-
checked in with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office today asking where does the investigation what we do know so far.
Loved ones of 19-year-old Sade Robinson won't find peace until they find her remains.
I think finding her will do them wonders, and it also helped me too.
33-year-old Maxwell Anderson was officially charged in her death Friday. Investigators confirmed it was Robinson's leg that was found in Warnemont Park in Cudahy. Investigators also found a foot and other human remains in Milwaukee County, which were identified as Robinson's. In that same area, 31st and Galena, authorities say Robinson's car was set on fire.
Everyone knew her as a bubbly girl with a great smile, and she made the world a better place. So just this to happen to her, out of anyone, is just tragic. It's horrible.
Authorities identified Anderson as a person of interest through phone records and say the two went out on a first date. Saturday, Robinson's family used locations from where her phone pinged to search for the rest of her remains.
I went up and down those cliffs, the wooded areas where I didn't think police or the dogs could get into.
The search for Sade Robinson continues Monday. Fox 6 reached out to Anderson's attorneys for comment, but never heard back.
Yeah, the devil. So, let me just put the GoFundMe page up. I've talked enough about it, but we're going to look at possibly supporting our sisters. So they've raised over $50,000 in donations. The goal was 30 in order to support the family in burial cost on behalf of Sade. The funeral is going to be May 9th with the services because obviously they're still trying to find the body. I wonder if the body, if they found a torso, other items not far from the water, if he dumped the remaining parts in the water. That's just my theory on it. So yeah, you got to be careful, exactly, Cheryl, on these online dating sites. Ladies, please look at carrying a firearm. If this sister was armed, I'm assuming she didn't have a weapon because there's nothing, I guess, that indicates that she was into a gun, especially at 19 years old. More than likely than not, they didn't. But if you go on these first dates, make sure you have some type of weapon, mace, knives, cutters, guns, anything. You don't have to give it up on the first date. It's okay if a guy says, "Can I bring you to? Can I? You want to go somewhere with me afterwards? You want to jump in my car?" It's okay to say no if you're not feeling it. You don't be pressured to do anything. And I'm not putting the blame on her for this. That's not what I mean. But I am saying that if you actually got someone, you go on a date with somebody you don't know, always make sure it's in a public place. Always make sure there are people around. Don't get in their cars because technically they're still a stranger. You wait and feel them out after a few dates before things get physical, but you always make sure you protect yourselves. Have a weapon with you. Have a gun. Get your concealed carry permit on. Get you a firearm. Get you some knives. Get you some type of weapons that you can carry legally in that state to defend yourselves. And that's just the truth. But rest in peace and rest in power to Sade Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm praying for her and her family. I hope that they get some type of justice. So we'll leave it there. And speaking of justice, and it's sad I got to do all of these back to back. So the topic we're talking about today, if you saw from my thumbnail, is about defending ourselves from false narratives. We're not just, and that is something we have to do, sadly, even in death. And that's where the families of these fallen individuals come from, because we're not just dealing with terrorists apparently who are killing unarmed Black people, but we're also dealing with the false narrative from the media and the press when it comes to it. And I'm going to show you, of course, two stories that are going to tie in. The main story I wanted to talk about also from the thumbnail is about the 61-year-old Uber driver, a Black woman by the name of Loretha Hall, and who was supposedly shot and killed by a William Brock. Now, I had been following this story for a couple of days because there's video footage of an elderly man following a Black woman around a car who apparently, supposedly, was a victim of a scam. And that's what the New York Post actually put here, where this 61-year-old woman who was shot and killed by this man. Look, of course, he's innocent until proven guilty, as all suspects are, and as we have to say, alleged. But by all accounts and purposes, we can clearly see this 81-year-old man, and you see in this video clip, as this woman is walking around hobbling. It's my understanding she had been shot in the leg by him, supposedly, and now this man is carrying what appears to be a 6-shooter revolver right at her. So right there, that in and of itself is a crime. That's aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. If he shot her already in the leg, that's an aggravated. That you could argue an attempted murder. Hey, they did it with the guy who flew at the judge in the courtroom. It certainly is an aggravated battery. Now, it has no volume, it appears on this. At least not here on this part. And reason she's limping is because she had, I believe, she's been shot. Now, off camera, I think or is it they say off camera, he shoots on the leg, but she asked to leave. Now, supposedly, the New York Post, and you can go and click on it, they say shocking video captures scam victim pointing gun at innocent Uber driver before allegedly killing her. So this happened in South Charleston in West Virginia. There was dash cam footage from Lolita Hall's car show, and thank God her camera foot was running, because if not, just imagine what the story would have been had he shot and killed her and there was no video footage of what led up to that incident. So she tried to actually there's actually audio on here, not in this video, but I'm going to pull it up. She actually tried to leave the residence afterwards, and he claims he was targeted by a telephone scam. And I don't know if it seems like he suspected Miss Hall somehow to be involved, but Miss Hall, who was an Uber driver, was there to actually pick up a package. She tried to get in her vehicle and leave, and Brock allegedly struggled with her and shot her dead, and he did not allow her to leave. And there's audio footage of it. So we're going to go ahead and see if I can play the audio right now. She actually tried to call 911 according to this report. Now, look how the New York Post writes this. Unbeknownst to Hall, the suspect was the victim of a phone scam in which his incarcerated relative threatened him and his family and demanded money, according to the news outlet. The driver had also been contacted by the same person or an accomplice, instructing her through the Uber app to pick up a package for delivery from Brock's home, the Clark County Sheriff's Office told WKEF. When she arrived, Brock allegedly demanded that the unarmed woman identify the person who contacted her and grabbed her phone as he refused to let her leave. Giving that phone, he can be heard be saying in a distressing video. We'll just play the video. But here's the thing, even if you say he were the victim of a scam on a phone, where is the threat to his life from being scammed? Where is he in imminent danger or suffering some great bodily harm? Because that is typically the grounds for a self-defense argument, not that a scam. But of course, this is already what white supremacy does when it controls its own media and press, where they spin the narrative. So we're going to play the video here, courtesy of, I believe this is on YouTube, WBNS, CNN, and Inside Edition. They also have the clip. But hold on, we're going to play it from the video right here from Inside Edition. I think. So hold on. And I got to be careful because I don't want, by the way, fair use. Fair use. Inside Edition. So I'm going to speed it up. Hold on. So you clearly see, so that's a 6-shooter. He's got it. Now, do you see any weapons in her hands? She has eyeglasses. That's it.
Like elderly people being scammed.
I'm going to warn you all. Of course, this is graphic. You know, I had to cover up the thumbnail. I don't want, you know, of course I get blocked by YouTube when you show things like this, but I'm already blocked anyway and shadow banned. So just as a warning, there's viewer discretion advised due to what we know is sadly what happens after this. So I'm going to go on and play this.
over the phone. Now it's turned deadly. An 81-year-old man ended up fatally shooting an Uber driver because he wrongly believed she was going to kill him. But she was unarmed, and they both were victims of an elaborate scam.
How does he believe? So how do you know that? He believed she was going to kill him? How the fuck does this reporter know this shit? Where did he get this information from? She clearly has no gun. Now, look, I don't know all the facts there, but there's nothing there. And if she's trying to leave and he also keeps her from leaving, then that in and of itself is another crime. That's called false imprisonment. That could be even kidnapping.
Les Trent has more, and we warn you the video is upsetting.
This terrifying video shows an elderly man pointing a gun at an Uber driver. She had driven to his home to pick up a package. And she is backing away because he has just shot her in the leg. 61-year-old Lolitha Hall cries out for help and frantically tries to explain why she's at his home. The deadly confrontation is caught on the Uber driver's dash cam and ends with the homeowner shooting her 2 more times.
I need the sheriff and an ambulance real quick out here. There's been a shooting. I shot her in the leg the first time, and I shot her in the shoulder.
William Brock tells 911 that he shot the Uber driver because he had just been threatened on the phone by a total stranger and thought they were working together.
Guy on the phone trying to get money out of me. He was telling me he was going to kill me and the family and everybody else around.
You can hear on the 911 call the wounded woman pleading for help.
Help me, please.
So why did the 81-year-old Brock believe the Uber driver was there to harm him? Investigators say it appears they were both victims of a scam.
Cops say the elderly man received a call from a scammer threatening his family and telling him that a relative had been arrested. The scammer ordered Brock to pay $12,000 or else. Cops say at the same time, an Uber driver, unaware of the circumstances, received instructions through the Uber app to pick up a package at Brock's home in South Charleston, Ohio.
Investigators say they tracked the scammer's call to Canada, but believe.
Okay, let me just stop right there for a second. So they say this was in South Charleston, Ohio. Why does this on the New York Post, they say West Virginia? So this happened, hasn't been in West. I'm just exactly where this happened. So this is reported from WKEF, Clark County, South Charleston, Clifton Road. Charleston, Clifton Road. Everybody knows what that is. So that's in Ohio. So this is in Ohio. So I don't know why the New York Post had West Virginia on there. So that was incorrect. What they put, that's where I was reading from. Okay. So by all accounts, this is Ohio. All right.
It came from a burner phone number. Adam Ghana is an attorney who represents elderly victims of fraud.
Elderly people are constantly getting defrauded in America today. You should be expecting to see more and more stories like this as the scams become more sophisticated.
Brock has pleaded not guilty to murder. Uber says they have banned the scammer's account and are cooperating with the investigation.
But notice this. The focus is on Brock as a scam victim and not on the 61-year-old black woman who was killed. They're blaming the scammers. They're blaming the scammers. The scammers are pieces of shit too. Brock is a fucking murderer. Let's just call it what it is. He's admitted he shot someone. He admitted shooting this woman for whatever reason. Now look, I might be jumping the gun as a lawyer. Of course, I don't even like doing that because I believe in the presumption of innocence. But looking at the video, we know he shot her. He admits it. He admits to shooting this woman. The prosecutors are going to have to get this video as well as that 911 call into evidence and play it in front of a jury. But don't be surprised, given his age and his health, that the defense attorneys, and it happens, try to work out, because your job is to do your due diligence for your client, that they try to work some type of agreement out. Don't be surprised if that happens. But it's very clear that Miss Hall was the one we should be talking about, not scammers. That's part of it. Yes. That's a factor, I guess you could say, yes. But ultimately, why did you shoot this woman if she was unarmed? She asked to leave. You wouldn't let her leave. You took her life.
Ambulance real quick out here.
The deadly confrontation is caught on the Uber driver's dash cam and ends with the homeowner shooting her 2 more times.
I need the sheriff and an ambulance real quick out here. There's been a shooting. I shot her in the leg first time, and I shot her in the shoulder.
William Brock tells 911 that he shot the Uber driver because he had just been threatened on the phone by a total stranger and thought they were working together.
Guy on the phone trying to get money out of me. He was telling me he was going to kill me and the family and everybody else around.
You can hear on the 911 call the wounded woman pleading for help.
Help me, please.
So why did the 81-year-old Brock believe the Uber driver was there to harm him? Investigators say it appears they were both victims of a scam.
Cops say the elderly man received a call from a scammer threatening his family and telling him that a relative had been arrested. The scammer ordered Brock to pay $12,000 or else. Cops say at the same time, an Uber driver, unaware of the circumstances, received instructions through the Uber app to pick up a package at Brock's home in...
Let's stop it there. So according to what we have, especially from the that's been reported, Brock has been charged with one count of felony murder, one assault charge, and one kidnapping charge for a grand total of $200,000 bond that he posted last week. Last week, he was arrested just on one count of murder, and earlier this week, a grand jury added 2 other charges, including 2 additional counts of felony murder, 1 assault charge, and 1 kidnapping. Of course, you know Uber's working with the authorities. Miss Hall, and here's what we got learned about her. The website that took care, on the website of the funeral home that took care of her burial, Lalitha Hall was a mother to a son, a stepson. She had 2 other sisters, preceded in death by her parents, Oscar Lee Jr. and Janet Tolan, as well as her grandparents, Reverend Oscar and Mary Tolan Sr., and Robert and Ellen, and Mr. Robert and Eleanor Hunt. Aunt Barbara Jones and nephew Martin Hall. She was born in Columbus, Ohio, in February 21st, 1963, and graduated from Ohio State University, majoring in horticulture. Since she had an avid love for gardening, she has 2 sisters, Melissa and Marquita, which they have a very close relationship. She was the oldest of her siblings. So she only had 1 son, Mario John Hall. She retired from Regional Income Tax Agency. She also worked at the Bureau of Workers' Compensation, the KIPP Academy of North Carolina, St. Vincent's Behavioral Health, and Uber, which is how she was killed. You know, family, I had stopped doing Uber and Lyft in part, especially after COVID, but it was getting dangerous, and we were hearing stories of how people got robbed, people were getting held up, especially Uber drivers. I never, and I'll just tell you a secret, even though we're not with you, if you drove for Uber, if you drove for Lyft, you could not carry a firearm or any type of weapon. I didn't follow that shit at all. You know why I didn't? Because Uber and Lyft was not going to protect Gavin Richard while he's driving. Their policies are to protect them. And you know something? When you work for another company, when you have any job, you are replaceable. They can find another person to drive a car, but they can't replace you as a person. See how quick you quit a job, they'll fill that position right up. That's how much you're valued. in America in the workforce. You're not. A common man is not valued. They can fire you at a drop of a hat and replace you with somebody else immediately. And they don't care about your families. That's how sick and twisted this world has become. It's how it is. It's a cruel place. And our sister, Lalitha Hall, you know, it broke my heart, honestly, just watching that video. I was saddened to see how she passed. But I hope, again, her family gets justice in this case. Mr. Brock should have thought twice before he went out and shot this woman. He was not a threat. She was not in danger. Yes, if he thought that he was in danger of some sort by scammers on the phone, he should have called the police and waited. But you see how the national media, they've twisted it about being scammers, and they put this narrative up instead of focusing on it. Who should we on the real victim, which is Miss Hall? And that's how we segue into, and that relates back to the topic of false narratives and defending ourselves from false narratives, because they like to change the story. They like to change the story. And speaking of which, someone that likes to keep up and change the story is none other than Bill Maher. Now, this is not the first time. So Bill Maher is continuing to push that OJ did it narrative, because as you know, OJ Simpson passed away due to cancer, battling pancreatic cancer this past week. And it wasn't a surprise to me that the white supremacists and white national media were going to throw shade on OJ Simpson, as they have always done with black icons and black people who have had their images tarnished. Bill Maher had been known for saying slick shit in the past about black folks. And Brother Tariq Nasheed brought this to my attention in the video that I had seen. Well, of course, I've seen him do this before, so it was nothing new. And again, and I had Harvey Superboy on here last time. We talked about the OJ Simpson case. I actually watched the trial. And when you listen to the media pundits like Geraldo Rivera or Nancy Grace or Charles Grodin and Bill Maher, of course, being a comedian, I remember him on Politically Incorrect and his show, but he actually made this remark, and this is a white liberal, let's just be real, who's saying this stuff, a supposed liberal, just because, although he's coming off more like a libertarian. Nothing wrong with being. I think Bill Maher, he identifies as, he might be what he calls himself, socially liberal, but fiscally conservative. He's he's aligned more with the right on stuff than he'd like to imagine. But I want you to listen carefully to what he said. This was, now Tariq has a video up from recently, but Bill Maher said some stuff before. But this is what he had on this past week. He had Pierce Morgan, and they were talking about OJ Simpson, or how we can say he did it, and so forth. And I'm gonna play it in its entirety. By the way, it's fair use, so there is no issue with. There should not be an issue. So, of course, this is why I stopped watching real time. It was really when I started to hear this, and I'm gonna play this to you. Well, so in this video, so there's two different videos. They're talking about, in this one, he's gonna talk about Michael Jackson's case, and somehow it's gonna be into OJ. And they're talking about how black support for Obama is to that of OJ. So this is around the time when I really started to pay close attention to how slick Bill Maher was, because remember, he was saying stuff about Wayne Brady, brother Wayne Brady. And I want y'all to listen. So this is in 2008, all right?
the charisma was not just I like and so I'm going to vote for him, but that will make him a more effective leader.
Exactly.
Well,
That you said more powerful. It was
you know
for
what?
policy that that mattered when you go overseas.
I must say, I've gotten some predictions wrong, but I get this one right because Barack was trailing in the polls with blacks not that long ago. And I said, you know what? They're going to come home to Barack Obama. They came home to OJ. And people
No,
got
that analogy.
That's not a bad analogy. It's not a bad analogy. No. It's not a bad analogy. Why is it a bad analogy? People knew OJ killed his wife.
I don't think
It's just human nature to stick
They
with
weren't rallying behind OJ. They were rallying behind the white judicial system.
Against
a lot of
white
black
judicial,
people
yes.
knew that OJ was guilty.
Right.
But they couldn't stand the way he was. Not only was he guilty, he was also framed, I believe.
Okay. That's a crock of horse shit, Richard Belzer. That's a crock of horse shit. Black people didn't know he was guilty. No. See, you're putting words into Black America's mouth, and that's not something you're going to do. No.
I believe they just threw it all at him. And people are smart enough to know that. No, I'm not kidding. I don't think he was framed and he was guilty.
I do think they framed a guilty man.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All right, let's not get off on that again. But I do think it'd be very hard, given the plight that the black men had in America, black men and women, to ask them to have this great candidate and not vote for him. I mean, we're just very lucky that he happens to be a great candidate.
Right.
I feel that.
So, and that's another reason why I stopped. They had one black person on there, the one token, and one liberal white and one conservative. It's all set up that way. And so Bill Maher, so that was 16 years ago. So he said, always OJ has been guilty. And Belzer believed, well, he was guilty, but he was framed. No, OJ Simpson was innocent. You see, and I'm going to play the rest of the other videos. And I'm going to go over something with you all in a second as it relates to this. See, this is where we're holding media accountable, because Bill Maher, first of all, he was not at that trial. He wasn't sitting in there every day listening to the trial, just like what Jeffrey Toobin would do, just like Nancy Grace never went to the court. They may have been 1 or 2 days in the trial, but Nancy Grace, my understanding, she never set foot. But this is what, and Brother Tariq Nasheed pointed this out, because Bill Maher tries to be the spokesperson for black people because he sleeps with a couple of suspected women. So listen very carefully. So of course he starts it with a joke.
What do you think about OJ?
He did it. He did it, right? We all knew he did it at the time. We know he did it now, and now he's dead. We can all say he did it.
Now, here's you listen to this. They're applauding it. They're applauding this. And Piers Morgan, there's a reason his show was kicked off of CNN. There's a reason they wanted to actually deport Piers Morgan, because he was actually going up against trying to repeal the Second Amendment and talked about gun control. This is a British citizen trying to teach Americans about gun control. Britain, they don't even have access to guns. They only let the police handle them. No, we didn't know he did it.
He can't sue it, so he's now dead. I mean, look, I just think it was a travesty of justice, but it was fascinating how that played out in America, and to watch that, as I did from the other side of the pond, to see how many people were prepared to accept that he probably got away with it, but thought it was one in the eye back
That's not
from the
what,
justice system.
That's not what it was.
You know?
No, I don't think people ever really interpreted that the right way. I think what it was, I think black folks knew very well he did it, and I don't blame them one bit for cheering him on. I mean, when you're on the wrong end of the justice system for as long as they had been,
so
when
you
they finally
trying to
got
get
one,
to speak for us? Where is
even though
this
he was
coming from?
not exactly the best recipient of that. I mean, of course it was. I mean, when we saw that split screen of white people going, oh my God, justice has not been done, and black people screaming in joy, totally understand.
Yeah,
You can't have two different complete histories in America and then expect people to have the same reaction to something like that. And to be, I just thought, yes, it was a miscarriage of justice, but for white people to be that upset about the one time a black guy gets off, I thought that was the gross part of it.
So
That's the part that I really thought was.
Has that changed today?
What?
Do you think that has changed today?
The reaction, if something like that? No.
That's a really interesting question. If you're going to ask about interracial kissing on Star Trek,
right?
And you think it's different now?
It is different now. Everything is.
Oh shit! First of all, okay, so we're gonna go over some facts. Let's go over some facts. See, I remember. I don't know if I can find it on YouTube, but I remember when Mos Def was on. See if you can find it. I can't find it right now. Mos Def was on Bill Maher's show, and I remember when he was adamant saying, "Oh no, OJ didn't do that," and Bill Maher and the people in the audience tried to shame him for having an opinion. How dare you? What? Oh, come on. You know he did that. No. Who the fuck are you? How dare you try to speak for black people? Yeah, he's gone. Richard Bells has been gone. How dare you try to speak for black people? How dare you accuse somebody of murder? Double murder. Let's be clear. You talk about he killed his wife. There were 2 people killed. You honestly think, see, nobody puts logic together with this. They put emotions. And that whole thing was an emotional rant. Like, black people have been railroaded so much for the city. You can't be that shocked when they say, okay, this one time, yeah, it was a miscarriage of justice. How the fuck you know? You weren't in the courtroom. You didn't hear the evidence. See, we're going to go through this tonight again. I got to go through this because Bill Maher don't speak for me as a black man. And it's the same Bill Maher who got up on HBO and used the word nigger a few years ago. And they brought Michael Eric Dyson and Ice Cube to try and give him a pass. Michael Eric Dyson more than anyone. I'll never forget that. That's HBO. That's HBO that gave him a platform. Remember when his show, I remember when his show Politically Incorrect was on ABC. That got canceled. I remember when he was talking shit about wrestling and Roddy Piper actually got in on him. Roddy Piper, Sting, I think Bobby the Brain Heenan and Medusa were a guest on his show, and Piper was giving him the business. And Sting was even looking at him funny, like, man, you messed with the wrong one. I don't care if but we're gonna go through some facts. Hold on. See, Bill Maher doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, neither Richard Belzer and others. Because and damn sure not Pierce Morgan. Pierce Morgan, I didn't play the whole video. He says, of course, Pierce Morgan asked me, do you think he did it? He says, of course he did it. I'll finish it. Hold on. He says, of course he did it. Listen.
Of course he did it. There's no doubt that he did it. I mean, her blood was in his sock.
No, I know.
I mean,
I know. I'll just clarify what your position is, because I know mine. But
no, of course he did. That wasn't the issue, and the jury knew it too.
Oh,
it was payback, and it has to. And
he said her blood was in her sock. Blood was in the sock. We went through this. First of all, so this is how you know he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. See, I got to get upset. I got to go in on this. He doesn't know what he's talking about because I'm going to give you some facts, Bill Maher, because you go off talking, you have a platform. But now, and you know, my platform may not be as big as yours, sir. But I got a platform, and my platform is filled with loyal followers and listeners and people who do research, because I encourage people all the time to go in and read the facts. And I bring receipts. He said the jury knew it too. The jurors who have actually testified and sat on the jury, they wrote a book on it. There were some female jurors. Nicole hit me to this, but we're going to go through some facts. I want to show you this. This is from, okay, so this is this the book? This is F. Lee Bailey's book before he died. So I encourage everybody to go get this book on Kindle. Now I want to, he said the blood was in the sock. So let's look at this. So first off, let me start from the beginning. I'm giving you receipts so everybody can read this. All right. He said the blood was in the sock. So let's look at it. So let me go back a little bit. So Bailey's part, this is called the sock. All right. So he goes in, he said, another piece of evidence was a sock found in OJ's bedroom. Though through reliable RFLP testing, this is the DNA testing that they did, the sock was confirmed to have a droplet of Nicole's blood on it, as well as Simpson's. But there were several problems for the prosecution regarding the sock, involving issues with improper collection, storage, and potential tampering of evidence. To begin, there were questions around how and when the sock was collected at the scene based on evidence provided by the LAPD themselves. Police photographs and video of the Rockingham residence show time-stamp discrepancies as to when the sock first appeared on the floor. You listening, Bill Maher? A police photographer, his name, so these are the receipts, family. His name was Willie Ford. He testified under oath that he saw no sock in Simpson's bedroom when he videotaped at 4:13 p.m. on June 13, 1994. But a police evidence collector said he picked up the sock at about 4:30 or 4:40 p.m. So you have one photographer who takes the crime scene photo, takes a scene of Simpson's bed, there's no sock there. But then 18 minutes later, 17 minutes later, or let's say 27 minutes later, between that time, the evidence collector finds a sock. That doesn't seem odd to you, Bill Maher? Or you probably will just forgive it because you probably didn't know what the hell was going on. Most of these pundits don't know. Next were the reported observations of trained criminal investigators of the sock itself. Initial inspection of the sock upon collection at the Rockingham scene showed no visible signs of blood. Thereafter, it was examined at least twice more by at least 5 trained criminalists in the crime lab over the next 2 weeks. Each inspection showed no observed blood on the sock. It wasn't until August that the LAPD crime lab reported a droplet was found on the garment. Although a thoughtful next question would be, if there was never noted before, now, after several careful inspections, could that blood have been placed there through careless handling or malicious intent? Then, the placement of the blood drop on the sock created a curious problem. The droplet, so this is for you, Bill Maher, and this is for you, Pierce Morgan, you, Richard Belzer, wherever the hell you are. The droplet went completely through the sock at both ankles. A clear indication that no foot was in the sock when the blood got on it. Our expert witnesses, criminalist Herbert McDonald and Dr. Henry Lee, both concluded that a strain of that type could not have occurred at the sock had the sock been worn when the blood got on it. When Gary Sims testified that the blood on the sock found in O.J. Simpson's bedroom matched Nicole's genetic markers, defense Barry Scheck asked, "Do you know from your own personal knowledge how and when that blood got on that sock?" And Sims replied, "No." Finally, this is the most important thing. See, I told you all I'm coming with receipts. Yes, Furman was in the bed. Furman was in the room too. There's videotape of that, but I don't want to talk about that right now. All right, I got to get to this point. So hold on. Let me remove the banner so everybody can see. I don't know if that was blocking y'all. Okay, but this is important here. So I highlighted it for y'all. All right, let's zoom in. So finally, one must consider the timing of when news broke about the DNA testing showing that the blood drop contained Nicole's DNA. So this is important. On September 26th, 1994, news reports were surfacing that a leak within the LAPD reported the sock found at the Rockingham residence had a drop of blood matching Nicole's DNA. However, that was the same day the sock was sent to Cellmark. That's the people that were going to do the tracing on the sock to do the genetic testing. Cellmark didn't submit its findings until November 17th. This raises the question, how could police investigators know in September that the blood drop on the sock would belong to Nicole? So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, what they're saying is that how the hell did the LAPD know that her blood was going to be on the sock when the company that actually could have done research and know for sure if the genetic testing would have matched Nicole's, and the results hadn't come back yet? They knew before they sent it off, in other words, that it was Nicole's blood was on there. And they could not have known that unless it had been planted. This came out at the trial. This is at the trial. They had this information. The jury heard this. That's the point of a trial. You put on your evidence, and as a defense attorney, I'm going to put on mine. I'm going to challenge you. And yeah, racist ass Bill Maher, I'm going to just call him that. He's a racist. And he's the worst kind, a liberal. Malcolm X warned you. He also warned you about the media. Malcolm said the liberal was worse than a conservative. He also said that television media is the most powerful entity on the earth. You know why? Because they have the ability to make the innocent look guilty and the guilty look innocent. How dare Bill Maher try and speak for black folk? An arrogant ass Pierce Morgan, as well as Richard Belzer, all of these other pundits, Geraldo Rivera. I found an old videotape circulating. I don't know if I'm going to see if I can play it, but there is music in it. I don't want to get a copyright strike. But Dr. Khalid Muhammad, the late Dr. Khalid Muhammad, went in on Geraldo Rivera because they were at this church. I don't know where it was. It might have been in Washington, D.C., but where Geraldo, as we know, had been obviously reporting on O.J. Simpson's case as to his guilt. And Geraldo, Dr. Khalid Muhammad talks about how he accused Geraldo. Yeah, you see here, Geraldo stated O.J. Simpson exploited America. Supposedly, he accused Geraldo of having an affair with Denise Brown, Nicole's sister. But I want y'all to listen to this. I want to fair use. I got to speed it up. Courtesy of Crumb TV.
This video is brought to you by music producer Mr. Town, who provided the instrumental on behalf of his label. You know the crew. That man ain't nothing but hate. That man should be off other television.
Now, from the Scripture Cathedral in Washington, D.C., a special edition of Rivera Live. So what brings me here are not the cheers and applause for him, but rather the cheers and applause that filled this church on that day in August, as I was described as someone filled with hate, who should not only be off TV, but off the earth as well. That is.
So they went in on, but I remember the people going in on Geraldo. They went in on Geraldo for his treatment of the O.J. Simpson trial, and Dr. Muhammad went in on
the
it.
focus of this special edition of the program. We can't discuss justice for black people when Khalid Muhammad is sitting there, who has said some of the most outrageous anti-Semitic, anti-Catholic things you can imagine, and I feel about it so strongly, I'm going to walk out of here. Now you can do what you want to do. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. He's afraid that the white folks at Harvard University want to. One quick point, it is not in my defense at all, but it was Malik, who kind of was the co-organizer here, who invited Mr. Muhammad. You've been subpoenaed here, showing up on your own recognizance into the People's Court of the Black Nation. In this case, the matter of the black community versus the defendant, the white racist media, and Geraldo Rivera. You were indicted here on August 28th. We are charging you and your co-defendants, the white racist media, with counts of attempted lynching of O.J. Simpson, the criminalization and dehumanization of black people, the wrongful death of the black male image. And said you don't have to get O.J. crazy. Everybody here in this audience can agree, Mr. Rivera, that you've gone absolutely O.J. crazy. The reason you've gone O.J. crazy is because the station of the network is owned and controlled by Jews, and that they put him out there. And so your jury.
I gotta put up a disclaimer just for the record. This is not. I'm just showing a media clip. This is fair use. I don't have to align everything with the brothers are saying. I don't, but I think they're right. Geraldo was O.J. crazy.
I am very that the jury is not a sequestered jury. The jury goes home every night. And so he retries O.J. in the day's proceedings on TV every night. So the reverend got with his courtroom during the daytime, he could erase it hopefully at night.
Try this case every night on public television so that the jury that is not sequestered can see you try it every night and you will impact on the panel of jury.
And I said, if you have 20
Right. So what it is that, yeah, what these pundits did, like Nancy Grace, Geraldo, and others, is people who did not watch the trial, like Bill Maher didn't watch it. I'm pretty sure he didn't watch because I remember this. What I just read to you earlier from F. Lee Bailey, I remember their experts testifying to this, and they were able to prove, yes, the blood went through the socks. The other thing they leave out with the bloody glove, the glove was still wet. If the crime had happened earlier, like they were trying to say, it would have been dry, but the glove was still wet. Also, there were no cuts in the gloves. Where O.J. Simpson's hand was cut, there was no cut from the glove. They've tried to make it seem like it was cut from the incident, the altercation with Ron and Nicole, but no, it wasn't. But they leave that out.
relationship with the Goldman.
Prosecutors even admitted there was no cuts in the gloves. Hold on.
Personal behind closed door dealings with Denise Brown and the Brown family.
And your mother is a Jew.
Because you do not openly on all occasions really admit that your mother is Jewish.
So he just went,
I'm telling you, if this gets into an anti-Semitic ramble, then I'm going to walk off the show.
and he has a big tattoo, like the so-called Star Day, all his name. I'm proud of my Star Day.
I'm very proud of that Star Day. I put you out.
It's exposing him and putting the cover out of his mouth. Then I went on to say, hey, you have a behind closed doors relationship. He's sleeping with Denise Brown, who is the sister of Nicole.
How far you go before you Denise Brown can flavor? You stick on the issue. Is that the issue? Not you want to bring up personal issues about yourself?
Then we had to set up, I kind of had an instructor from Maher who's representing from the Kabir Hadas from West Philly.
My name is Hiram Mashati, and I'm a member of the N.Y Post Success Organization in Philadelphia under the leadership of Kabir Hadas.
We set up before he came to the mic, he told him that he was going to ask something else. And he was going to say, well, we agree with O.J. being here in this church and the county of Muhammad. And they said, oh, come on. He got up to the mic for the Hiram Mashati, laid it all out.
My question is to Dr. Khalid Muhammad. With all these white militia groups forming the neo-Nazis, the Nye Birth, the ADL, skinheads, and others, what would you suggest?
Why would you put all of those together?
He said, look at the skinheads and the Ku Klux Klan and the militia and the Freeman and the ADL. He said, you're going to put all them together in the same category? And he writes him down, Hiram Mashati.
What's your suggestion?
Not going. I mean, you're comparing the ADL to the
racism here, Geraldo, and I'm discussing another factor of racism. We've seen what's happened right there in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yes, and that's a real issue. Stick to that issue. That's a real issue.
Exactly. So my question is, Brother Khalid, how do we confront these new forming militia? Should black men take up arms?
Should black men take up arms? Was that the question?
Yes, sir.
My God.
He said, I want to ask Dr. Khalid Muhammad, should black men get to take up arms? Should black men have guns?
Is that where this discussion is going?
Would you allow me to answer the question?
Bishop, is that where we want this discussion to go? Should black men take up arms? That question is not permitted on this program. I'm going to take a break. If you don't want me to answer that, I do not. I do not. That is an appalling question.
So you're not going to let me answer the question here? No, that question can't be. We're not going to allow that question to be answered here.
Too black and too strong.
We'll be right back. Bishop, I thought you were going to mention my donation. I've already made one. I hope you will leave something for the people. Geraldo, I hope you will let me suggest to you what we need. I shall. I promise.
His first and foremost purpose is to make money. And if you're serious about caring, he would take every dime, including his salary that CNBC show makes, and give it to victim rights. I can only give you an impression of Mr. Rivera that I had even before my whole ordeal is that some people on this earth, I mean, ecologically speaking, we have buzzards, we have jackals, and they must serve a purpose because what they do is they feast on misery and death. Long before my case, this man feasted on people's misery and death. Just look at the show.
Yeah. Right. That's when OJ was being black again. Gone and at one point I thought he was a black Muslim. He said, "Assalamu alaikum, brother." He went home. He was hanging out with Minister Farrakhan once. I think he was hanging around with Jesse Jackson. "Assalamu alaikum, brother." Like, damn. He was going everywhere. But yeah, Geraldo was one of those vultures. Well, I would say Judge Joe Brown, in my Judge Joe Brown voice, there was more evidence against OJ and more evidence in support of Mark Fuhrman. The bloody glove that was planted, the sock that was planted. You can hear on video, Detective Fuhrman, please leave, which implied that he too had planted this. Supposedly, Mr. Fuhrman had something dealings or relationship with Mrs. Simpson that I don't know, although we have that videotape of him saying the only thing he hears in the N-word is an N-word lover. So then you have that Rothman scandal in the 90s in LA. OJ, that man was innocent. A lot of those detectives though in the Ryan Park scandal were involved in that OJ Simpson case with planting evidence. But you see, they ignored that because they're a bunch of sissified punks that listen to Lizzo. That's what that is. It's her damn fault too. Judge, you know that Lizzo didn't come out until 2016, right? Oh, damn. She's been around a whole damn time, okay? It's her fault too. If they didn't have her listening to stuff, these cops wouldn't have been sissified little punks that don't have a damn clue. So let's go in. So yeah, but that's that. But yeah, I'm early tonight. I wasn't feeling that great, but I got one final. But I'm good having it here. What's up, Danielle? Danielle, of course, laughing it up. Y'all make sure, please, you're subscribed to the Rumble. I keep pumping that up. Make sure you're watching. I know a lot of people, because it's easier to find me when I go live, people naturally come on YouTube, but I need to increase these numbers on Rumble. We're going to be moving away from YouTube. I'm going to put a permanent link to the Rumble also in the chat on my YouTube channel, because you can all donate. Thank you, by the way, Cheryl, for your donation. Please make sure y'all drop something in the Cash App for me. The Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. Cece, thank you for the birthday wishes, although my birthday was in February, but I just was too lazy. I didn't change the banner, so let me do that. I'm sorry. It would be nice if you gave me a late birthday gift. All right, let's go. So finally, the big news. Yeah, but I had to go in there. You can't let people rewrite the narrative and story just because that it could fit their agenda. We can't have that. O.J. Simpson was an innocent man that was wrongfully accused of a crime.
Did you ever feel like your life was in danger? Always. See, here's the thing. And this is what people your age don't understand.
So we got Donald Trump. The Trump trial is set to begin. Y'all know that they have had the damnedest time with jurors. There was a pool of nearly 200, and everybody got grilled. Everybody was grilled about everything from their social media accounts, what they thought about January 6th, what they thought about the president. I believe they had to dismiss some jurors a lot of jurors for cause, because most people felt that they could not be fair in giving a sitting on the jury with Donald Trump. And they actually had one juror that was dismissed that left here. So he's facing 34 counts, basically 34 counts of falsifying his tax records. This is in New York. Of course, this is in Manhattan. And as you know, Trump is running for president again. And let's be real honest. This is an attempt to keep him from running. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe it wholeheartedly. Now, they're trying to say he tried to pay. If Donald Trump was nobody else and did this, you would have never heard of it. You probably would have never seen him go on a trial, because when people have their records, their business records, taxes, the main thing you try to do as an entrepreneur, and I'm an entrepreneur myself, is try to make things as easy on you as possible, especially when you're filing your taxes, when you're with records. Some things, if you can legally, and I encourage everything to do law, like to finance like certain things that could be classified as deductions. That way you're not paying taxes on it, like miscellaneous stuff, haircuts, grooming, food, mileage, travel, some travel, trips, things like that, that could be, you could relate it on business. You try and get as much as possible. So I'm going to play this video. So hold on. This is from WFAA.
Former President Donald Trump is back in a Manhattan courtroom for a third day of jury selection in his hush money payment trial. A new group of New Yorkers, 96 prospective jurors, set to answer a 7-page questionnaire, which asks things like whether they've been to a political rally for or against Trump, and whether they have strong views about him that would prevent them from being fair and impartial jurors. Then lawyers from both sides will question them before the final few are chosen. The first several jurors have already been seated, but this morning the judge said he received a call from one of those jurors, juror number 2, saying after sleeping on it overnight, she had concerns about serving on the case. After questioning her this morning, she was excused. There are also questions about seated juror number 4. Prosecutors saying a person with the same name had an arrest record for tearing down political advertisements. Each side has already used 6 of its 10 peremptory challenges, which eliminate a prospective juror for almost any reason. Each side has additional challenges for seating alternate jurors.
Once they're out of their peremptory challenges, right? Once each side can no longer just dismiss a juror for any reason apart from race, then the fights start over whether and why jurors should be dismissed.
Trump is facing felony charges related to a 2016 hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels in order to allegedly cover up an affair with her. He denied that affair and pleaded not guilty to a 34-count indictment, charging him with falsifying business records. Prosecutors are also asking the judge to hold Trump in contempt, bringing up what they say are more gag order violations. A hearing on that is scheduled for next week. Meanwhile, the judge has told those who have been seated to be ready as soon as Monday for possible opening statements. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
So he's talking about possibly on Monday, this trial starting. And yeah, Trump is already speaking. He already speaks after the jury has been seated.
So thank you very much. I wanted to just say that I'm supposed to be in New Hampshire. I'm supposed to be in Georgia. I'm supposed to be in North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm supposed to be in a lot of different places campaigning. But I've been here all day on a trial that really is a very unfair trial. These are all stories. This is over the last few days from legal experts. This is Wall Street Journal editorial. But all of these are stories from legal experts saying how this is not a case. The case is ridiculous. There's another one. The case is a ridiculous Trump indictment. It's missing fraud. There is no fraud. All of these stories are stories of how, and these are done by the experts and editorials. Bragg falsified business record, and he falsifies them. He's the one. He's the fraud. But take a look at all of these are stories. You see them here. Bragg's indictment even falls as an indictment. All of them. Bragg crosses the Rubicon, indicting Trump on that sense. The whopping outrage in Trump's indictment. It's a whopping outrage, and it is an outrage. Everybody's outraged by it. You know, we had 18 DA or DA type store clubs. 18 or 19 or 21, they counted all the in and out. And in the meantime, you have murders going on right outside in New York. Look at this National Review, another National Review. Jonathan Turley, Greg Jarrett, Andrew McCarthy. Every one of them saying they call it a zombie case, meaning there is no case. And they say it's unconstitutional. They don't think the case is. These are all stories that have taken place over the last few days. Take a look at this. D.A. Bragg wants us to believe that his pursuit of Trump isn't political. Of course it's political. And they're doing it for Biden. They're doing this for Joe Biden. Even the Rolling Stone, no friend of mine, they don't like it. Says they don't like Bragg's chances on this case. That's a disgrace. That's a nice headline. I'd like to read that one too. But everyone who lies about the case, justice is on trial. You know, the whole world is watching this New York scam. The trial spectacle begins. That's Wall Street Journal. It's a spectacle. Every one of these. America is a third world country. Daily Caller. Wow. That's New York Magazine even. All of it just came out. These are all, every single one. I haven't seen one that says it's a good trial. It's political. This is a Wall Street Journal editorial. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And I'm sitting here for days now, from morning till night, in that freezing room. Freezing. Everybody was freezing in there. And
it's freezing.
all for this, and this is your result. Look at that. Each one of them is story. And it's very bad thing. Very bad thing. The whole world is watching this hoax. You got a DA that's out of control. You have a judge that's highly conflicted.
I mean, damn, man, shut up.
The leading candidate and leading crooked Joe Biden by a lot. He's the one that should be in trial. He's a crook. You got a crooked president. He should be in trial with all the stuff he's done in his family. He should be in trial. But he's the one in charge.
Ain't gonna happen.
People are here working with the DA's office to make sure everything goes right. But it should be all right because they have no case. That's what this is all about. And it really is a shame. This country is evolving into a third world country. Between having no borders, having no justice, we have no justice, and having a press that doesn't want to cover the facts. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
The juror told you something. How did you feel?
The defendant, Donald Trump, there, after the breaking news, a jury of 12 have been seated and selected to adjudicate in the criminal hush money cover-up case against Mr. Trump. All happening just in the last half hour or so. Mr. Trump there saying that it is not fair that this case is going on, that it is an unfair case. He cited a number of conservative writers saying as much. He also cited a Rolling Stone article from more than a year ago suggesting that there are people who don't like Trump but think this case is weak. Let's go straight to CNN senior justice correspondent Gavin, who's outside the courthouse. Gavin, quite a whirlwind of a day.
Yeah.
It is a whirlwind of a day, Jake. Look, we started pretty rough, where we had two jurors who had been put on the panel were excused from serving. One of them because she said that she no longer believed she could be fair. She was concerned about details about her life that had made it out into the public. And another one who a prosecutor said a person with a similar name. The only thing we know is that a person with a similar name had an arrest record, and so that person was questioned and in the end was excused. We don't know exactly why they were excused. But then, as you pointed out, in the last half hour, we now have a jury of 12 and one alternate. The 12 who have been seated, the 12 jurors, 7 men and 5 women, and it's a cross section of New Yorkers who are now going to be sitting in this courthouse behind me for the next few weeks to hear this case on Donald Trump. I'll tell you just a little bit about a few of these people. One of them, the foreman for the jury is someone who's originally from Ireland. He works in sales. We have an investment banker. We have a couple of lawyers who are on this jury. And some of the things that you hear the former president complaining about, what he thinks is the unfairness of this jury. You have people on here like, for example, an African-American woman who said that she believes that the former president speaks his mind, and I'd rather someone who's in office than someone who doesn't know, you don't know what they're thinking. That's one of the jurors who was chosen to sit on this jury. Another juror who the former president, his legal team tried to remove from the jury. She described him as he seems very selfish, very self-serving. In the end, she said that she believed she could be fair. So now we have this jury seated. Jake, we expect that tomorrow the judge will continue choosing alternates. We believe he's going to choose as many as 6 alternates. 1 has been chosen already, and so this process is going to continue again tomorrow, beginning at around 11:30 a.m.
All right, Evan Pettis in New York. Thank you so much. CNN's Daniel Dale is CNN's resident fact checker. He's handy to have around at times like this. Daniel, we just heard a little speech from Mr. Trump. What'd you make of it? Did he say anything that was not true?
He did. I mean, it was mostly uncheckable subjective opinion, but he did say a few things that weren't quite right at very least. So he repeated his false conspiracy theory that essentially that Joe Biden is behind this case, which was brought by a locally elected district attorney. He said Biden is behind it. He has his top people working with the DA's office to make sure everything goes right. There's no basis for that. That appears to be a reference to a former Justice Department official who went to work for the DA's office, but there's no sign that that was anything but his own employment decision. In fact, this former official, Matthew Colangelo, had previously been a colleague of DA Bragg, so he rejoined his old colleague. He also claimed that Joe Biden is the president should be on trial. I think that's mostly opinion, but I think it's worth noting, Jake, that we've had this extended Republican House investigation, impeachment inquiry, no evidence of impeachable offenses, high crimes and misdemeanors, let alone criminal offenses. And then I should notice, as you did briefly, that he read this big pile of documents, of articles, citing headlines denouncing the case. I Googled some of them as he was speaking, so he read one talking about the whopping outrage in Trump's indictment. Well, that's harsh criticism. Where was it from? A Fox News column. He mentioned the Daily Caller, another right-wing publication.
Wait, you're CNN. Y'all do this the same shit. What about the cocaine found in Biden's in the White House? What happened with that? See, every side, when there's this is territorial stuff. Everybody is trying to look out for each their own sides. If this was Bill Clinton, CNN would have been trying to fight for Bill Clinton. They would have said this is unfair. They would have done everything in the manner. You name it. Even for Joe Biden, they would do anything to try and save him. Versus same thing with Fox News. If it was George Bush, of course, or Donald Trump, like they do, yeah, they would defend them. See, media is supposed to be unbiased. It's not supposed to have a tie to anything. But that's enough of that. I put in the chat. Do you think Trump is going to have a fair trial? And the votes are split by 2 votes, 50-50. Y'all think he's going to get fairness out of it? Are you concerned? Then here's my other question. Would you be concerned if he didn't get a fair trial? I'll say this. If a white man can't get a fair trial in the United States, we're screwed as black people. There is no hope. So I think we'll get more. So it's just 50%. Yeah. Yeah. I think Trump. I I don't think Trump. I don't see Trump getting convicted. I don't think he's going to get convicted off of this. I think that he'll walk. Uh, it's just a delay tactic that I think the New York, and this is where I believe wholeheartedly they're doing delay tactics to actually make sure Trump stays on, it messes his chances for winning the presidential election. So there's no doubt about it. And CNN, they're so biased right now. It's not even funny. They're the walking donkey, the Democratic donkey. So yeah, anyway. So God, one more thing I want to talk about. I didn't add this at the topic, but Caitlin Clark, Mr. Caitlin Clark. I would say that looks like Mono Ginobili Jr. I'm not trying to be mean, but when I saw it, I thought, damn, that's Mono Ginobili. Shit, they did reverse agent on him. Remember Mono Ginobili from the Spurs? But because I saw how good the girl can ball. Caitlin Clark can ball. But so what's going on around? Here's the thing. What's going on, especially since they had the WNBA draft this past Tuesday, or was it Monday actually, where, and shout out to the sister Angel Reese. She joins the Chicago Sky along with the South Carolina Star. So Angel Reese, what they've done, and let's be real, Angel Reese is the reason she doesn't get a lot of credit because everybody is talking about Caitlin Clark. But Angel Reese was drafted by the Chicago Sky. And look, Angel Reese basically is a very attractive, gorgeous young woman. She's got endorsements. She's got endorsement deals. She's done stuff I know locally here with LSU. She's got with Raising Cane's. I think she has the Bayou Barbie. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to figure out if she has it trademarked. But yeah, Angel Reese got drafted by the Chicago Sky. I believe she was the fourth or fifth round pick. And yeah, she's one of the top earners of college athletes to have the name, image, and likeness deal. She's a millionaire as a result of this. She won a title with LSU last year. She's well interested. Yeah, she was nicknamed the Bayou Barbie. So she actually did file for the trademark, but got denied. Maybe because Barbie, I don't know if it might have to do with Barbie, the name Barbie being incorporated with it to avoid any type of trademark confusions with it. But yeah, she's made cameos in music videos and stuff like that. Yeah, sister's been all around. She's good, and she seems like a sweetheart. I know she talks trash and stuff like that. She does that on the court, which all basketball players do. So yeah, she's got endorsement deals with Sonic, TurboTax, Steakhouse, Amazon, Bose, Coach, Discord. So she actually had a foundation. So she makes her money like this. And a lot of people, what's been going viral, they've all been complaining because their focus has not been on her. The focus has been on Caitlin Clark, who got drafted first round by Indiana. And I can't think of the name because, hell, I don't follow WNBA. Let's be real. Men don't follow it. Yeah, and Antonio, I see the Daily Mail has an article about Antonio Brown. There was a columnist, yeah, so that happened too. There was a columnist from the Indianapolis Star named Greg Doyle who made a remark to her about the heart logo that she does. I think this is the clip. Yeah, he said something real. She plays for the Indiana Fever, and he said something. He flirted with her essentially. I don't see how, but okay. I don't see why, but all right. I'm not gonna be mean. I'm not gonna be mean. Maybe a little.
Hi. Caitlin, Greg Doyle, Indy Star. Real quick, let me do this.
You like that?
I like that you're here. I like that you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so
Okay,
it's
well,
pretty
let's
cool.
start doing it to me and we'll get along just fine. So, question.
So people were complaining about that. And he ended up apologizing for it because people thought it was inappropriate for him. Some fans responded with backlash. So she blushed. People saying it was creepy. Yeah, it could have been, but it could. Yeah, I guess you could say it could, but it's not uncommon. I mean, is it uncommon for people to? It's not uncommon for men, I guess you could say, to flirt with attractive women. I don't know how here, or how could I say, popular individuals, popular women. It happens all the time, but as a reporter, maybe it wouldn't have been best for him to actually do that, but I can't judge intent. But at either rate, he apologized for it because the backlash from that was severe. People were calling it cringe-worthy. Caitlin hadn't responded, but what's been going on is that Caitlin Clark's salary has gone viral, and she is estimated over a 3-year period to only make $75,000 a year. And so the NBA and the WNBA, they've been getting backlash. Why is her salary like this? Biden complained about it. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that this has been going on for decades. There have been black women. Now, she even got a Nike deal. I want to talk about that. They have an MVP who doesn't even have Aja Johnson, who hasn't even had her own shoe with Nike yet. And people noticed that. And Aja Wilson, I apologize. So what they're getting wrong about the pay is that it's $76,535 salary. The top NBA pick will make a $10.5 million salary, 137 times more than Clark. The thing is this, and Biden talked about it, and what they're complaining about is fairness. Oh, wait, hold on, y'all. Let me play my music. Hold on a second. Hold on, I gotta go to the restroom. So, of course, this is going to be courtesy of CNN, where they're talking about. So I'm back now. I had to put the loop out. So, what they're stating is that the WNBA stars aren't asking to be paid on an equal dollar amount to NBA players, however. Not right now, anyway. They acknowledge the reality of being a league with a smaller pool of revenue to go around, and one that is a lot younger without 50 years of contract negotiations, and the subsequent hard-won work of protection salaries that come with it. What they want is more an issue of fairness, they say. So they gave this breakdown of everything here. Victor Wembanyama and all the other top 10 draft picks in the NBA this year versus the top 10 WNBA picks this year. And what they're claiming is they want the same percentage of revenue share. So what they're trying to say is the revenue women receive about 10% of WNBA's overall revenue, while the NBA collects market revenue gives players 50% of revenue, according to David Berry, a professor of economics. They try to say she was wrongfully, and here's the thing, they're talking about Brittany Griner here. They say Phoenix Mercury star Brittany Griner, who was headed to Russia to play in the WNBA's offseason in 2022, was wrongfully detained in Russia. She was not wrongfully detained. She had drugs in her damn suitcase. It's illegal in Russia. Here's the thing with the pay. All pay, the WNBA is a very smaller league. So the WNBA is a small league, guys. Their revenue, okay, whatever, Honky. So the WNBA, as y'all know, guys, is a very small league. And the way you get paid, the way the money is set, it's, the NBA is worth about $10 billion. WNBA is about 200. Even when they put the WNBA games on ESPN or ESPN2, they can't actually average 1 million viewers. It's hard. They barely can do that. It's hard because it's not popular. And the main reason why it's not popular, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Nobody wants to see a marathon of layups. They don't like seeing men, straight heterosexual men. This is just the truth. This is not hatred. Straight heterosexual men, straight heterosexual white men. I think the big three is a little bit smaller than the WNBA. But they're the ones who buy the tickets to these games, not the children, not the girls and stuff, but straight white. They're the ones that buy seats to like the NBA and NFL games. And they go there because number one, it's excitement, it's excitement filled. The players that they have personalities. I came up in the 80s and 90s. As a kid of the 90s, we saw Michael Jordan. I want to be like Mike. Air Jordan, here's Ernest. The bad boy Pistons, Magic Johnson. Now, that's actually in Larry Bird, that rivalry. Now, that's actually the vibe that they're trying to go with Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese now. That's what they did. Caitlin Clark is their Larry Bird. And they want to use her as the catalyst for taking the WNBA where it is. But honestly, it's Angel Reese who was the reason for that. And so they have hyped Caitlin Clark up so much. So now when Caitlin Clark comes in, they want to talk about raising the salaries. Now, yeah, they may have mentioned it earlier when Brittany Griner got in trouble and how much they made. But everything, guys, is an agenda behind it. Look at what Dawn Staley said. Dawn Staley, who is the coach for South Carolina, said people watch the games because of Caitlin Clark. That's a complete hell no. The viewership, yes, she was a part of it, but really the viewership increased because we saw that badass sister Angel Reese take her to school last year in the championship game. This year, when they lost, Angel Reese, something they leave out, Angel Reese got hurt. That's why LSU in part lost that game, and also the coach did a bad job with the matchup. Right, it's just not a popular league. I don't expect, I'm a bowler. I don't expect the PWBA and the PBA, the pay salaries to increase. PBA players only don't make, but PBA players, the best ones, don't make no damn $100,000 a year. They may make at least 60 or 65. That's not a lot of money to be a professional bowler. And that's because advertisers, the revenue comes from the people not just buying the tickets, but also to get paid in advertisement. You think advertisers want to spend millions of dollars if you can't generate about 2 million viewers, not even a million? You're going to spend millions of dollars when nobody's watching the show? Now, with Caitlin, I will say this, with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese playing and that rivalry from LSU and Iowa in the championship games, that actually might very well increase the viewership for the WNBA. But let's be real. They've hyped this girl up, and I was talking to people about it. Oh, she's talented, but you can't say it's all hype. Yeah, I can. She won no championships. Larry Bird, I can say this with Larry Bird. When he got in the NBA, Larry Bird backed up. Larry Bird could play basketball, and he backed it up. But he also won 3 NBA titles. He was an MVP. He was a finals MVP. And I don't find it a coincidence she went to Indiana, which is where Larry Bird is from. They had the highest, when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson played, they had the actual highest rated television ratings for a college basketball game because of Bird versus Johnson, and that would trickle into the NBA. So there was a storyline with it. So I think there very well could be a storyline with that, but I can tell you it's not going to reach. The game has changed so much, especially with the fact that we got so much stuff on TV. A lot of people, I'm not going to say they're not watching sports, but it's not the same as it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The personalities have changed. The style has changed. I mean, no Kobe Bryant, no Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq was a personality. I just want to say that. Then I was want to, can you dig it? Superman, Diesel. He had a personality. It's a nice, and he did the movie Blue Chips. That's actually what I remember him from. That's earliest I remember of Shaq. It's Blue Chips. I never saw him play for LSU. Believe it or not, I don't remember that. I was too little, but I remember seeing him in Blue Chips. Yeah. I remember Shaq. So those guys have personality. And Angel Reese, yeah, she's just a good-looking woman, too. So, yeah, a lot of brothers will flock to her. So, yeah, if I watch, I might be watching her. But, yeah, man, they've been all on Angel Reese. And y'all know they brought on Saturday Night Live last week. She sat there with Michael Che. Yeah, and Angel Reese doesn't eat. How does the losing team get to be on SNL? Like, damn. They didn't invite South Carolina, the girl who Angel Reese is teaming up with, who was drafted for the Chicago Sky. The center for the girl is from she's originally from South America. The center. See, that's another thing. When Dawn, she played for South Carolina, Dawn Staley's team. When Dawn Staley said that shit about when she said that shit that men could play in women's sport. You said some sucker ass shit. Come on, let a man play. Let men play in basketball. Let men play in boxing with y'all and see what happens. Like you saw that woman that got that had her eye socket broken in that MMA fight by the transgender. Are y'all that stupid? There's a reason they give women's sports, they make it for women only. Because they know if a man gets in there, men are physical. That's just reality. That's not hatred. Men are very physical. And they all tend to be stronger than. See, they tend to be physically stronger than women. That's just a fact. That's not hate. All right? A man punching a woman in this society is frowned upon. So how is it you're going to say men can't do this and shouldn't do this with a woman, but then you want them to be physical in the sport, be in a sport with the same sport with them where they can be physical? You had let me see if I can find it. Remember that clip, the people that team that was playing basketball, they had a boy playing with them and knocked him out. He knocked the girl out. Hold on. Where's that video? Yeah, injured 3 players. Hold on, let me see. Is this the video? Where's the video? I'm trying to find the actual video without a commentary. So this is it here. Yeah, well, Caitlin Clark was on SNL. So hold on. This is the actual video. I hate when they have these.
So Josiah wandered.
I hate when they have.
I was stung. My husband dropped in on our Alexa device, instructed my son how to administer the EpiPen. If my husband hadn't acted so fast, I wouldn't be here.
Alexa detected the smoke alarm.
We reckon that the smoke alarms upstairs, batteries had died, but Alexa heard the ones that was going off in the den.
Alexa did save my life.
Amelia Barbosa is the girl from Brazil. Yeah, but the transgender that.
Introducing Alexa
Emergency. Y'all saw that? Actually think so. This is what we're gonna have. They're gonna get whipped. And Dawn Staley was supporting. I think Dawn Staley is part of the Rainbow Cloud. If you dig my meaning. So that doesn't surprise me if she supports that. Yeah, she's married to a woman. I don't know. That's another thing. A lot of men, a lot of people don't. I'm just telling you, there are a lot of people who are not comfortable with seeing people, girls, a female sport where all 90% of the females look like dudes. I mean, look at this. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is, but the computer seems to be having trouble loading. Come on, man. Why don't you stop? All right. Sorry. Looks like
I was in the game.
all right. Whoa. They kicked me out. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, man, they're nuts for thinking that. But what do y'all think will happen? Yeah, I'm glad I made this live stream at 6:30 instead of 8, just because I knew coming on I was gonna be talking heavy. I didn't want to be here till 10 o'clock. I actually got some stuff I gotta get to, but all right, but yeah, man, this is the game is played at a high level. It's the same stuff. It's Larry Bird over again with Caitlin Clark. Now, that's not saying she's not a great player, but do I think they hype it up? Of course they are. It's media. Everything's media hype in this world. Everything is done for clicks and ratings. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure you drop something in the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. If you love me for my time, pay me for my time. Make sure you go on Amazon Kindle and buy The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. That's another way to support me. Go on Amazon Kindle, purchase this book. It's ready. Because what you saw with O.J. Simpson, that was the blueprint for how all black men with money were treated, especially black celebrities. Look what we see with after O.J. was Michael. You had Eddie Murphy, you had Diddy again. Okay, now Diddy's coming back. R. Kelly. Now, and this is not me. People gonna think I'm defending R. Kelly. No, I'm talking about what the law did to him that was questionable. Cuba Gooding Jr. There's a host of others. Even Rick James. Rick James in debt. Did y'all know Rick James was being sued for assault from something? His estate was being sued. This happened 5 years ago. Back in 2018, they were filing a lawsuit against him. Y'all, so I'm going to get up out of here, y'all. Y'all be safe and be blessed. Shout out to Nicole. I'm going to see if I'm going to reach out to Nicole from Nicole Studio. We're going to have to link up and do another show. Drew Story News, all right? But y'all be safe and be blessed. Be one family. Holla. Peace. Let me get out of here.